Hello, welcome back to the channel. My name is Lisa Elvin Staltari, and I'm a genealogist and a passionate traveler. Over the last year and a half or so, I've been focusing on les filles mariées, getting to know each and every one of these 260 ladies who truly are among the founding mothers and grandmothers of Quebec. Before we begin, let me show you ways you can support the channel. The first three keep you in the know. Subscribe, like, and notify. All that helps all of my logarithms and all that. And the next three are ways to help the channel grow. We have Coffee and Patreon. And we also have on my Have Roots Will Travel website a PayPal button that you can press and donate what you like. Thank you to all of you who have done so in the past few months. I really appreciate the uptick in support. It really means a lot to me. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And let's get on with the show. Les filles mariées between 1634 and 1662 were about 260 ladies who came to the colony and tried to help build a true country. Obviously, 10 girls per year, because that's what it averaged out to, is not enough in 28 years to build a country. But those girls who came and actually created families are truly the grandmothers of Quebec, New France, and their filles du roi, les filles du roi, who came after them, are truly the founding mothers. But these ladies came to a place that wasn't even civilized and were absolutely brave and courageous to come. So we salute them. And let's have a look at our filles mariées of this episode. Our filles mariées, episode 58, is Marthe Bourgouin. And she is a viewer request, so I'm delighted. I don't have her in my files, so I was delighted to explore Marthe's life and her descendancy a little bit more. Let's have a look. She was born in 1636 on Ile Saint-Louis in Paris, in France. Her parents were Jean Bourgouin and Marie Lefebvre. For those of you who are new to the channel, you would know that Paris is laid out in different arrondissements. You might not know that Paris was laid out in circles, arrondissements they're called. And Ile Saint-Louis is part of the 4th arrondissement of Paris, and she was born in that area right across from Ile de la Cité, which houses Notre Dame Cathedral, which I believe this is where she would have been baptized. Marie Marthe's father was Secretary of the King's Chamber and a clerk for the treasurer, responsible for the military, otherwise known as a commis extraordinaire de guerre. So, I mean, she came from extraordinary stock, if you will. Marie Marthe would come to New France sometime in 1661. It is not clear if her parents had passed away or not. We just know that she was here in 1661. The room that she selected and who selected her, his name, Nicolas Godbout, and he was born in 1635 in a town, a commune called Berneval-le-Grand in France. It's now known as Petit Caux. His parents were Michel Godbout and Colette Caron. Berneval-le-Grand is now part of that Petit Caux, which was a new commune formed in 2016 from 16 other municipalities. 1,400 inhabitants of this commune now live there. The church that is now there was built in 1954. The old church of Berneval dates back to the 13th century. On June 3rd, 1944, this church was destroyed by an Allied aerial bombardment. So just incredible. And so that is a picture of the old church that is no more. And that is on the bottom left is the little town that is stays strong, you know. And this is where Nicolas comes from. He come to New France sometime before 1661. He was a ship's navigator, which is a very important function. And that is how he made his living. Marthe and Nicolas were married at Quebec on January 9th, 1662. They would settle down in Quebec City. Let's review a little bit about this place. Quebec was originally named by the Algonquins who named the area Quebec, K-E-B-E-C, which in their native language meant where the river narrows. Quebec City lies where the St. Lawrence River narrows. And Samuel Champlain founded the French settlement here in 1608. And there are city walls that surround it, which date back to this time period. And it makes Quebec City the only city in North America with remaining city walls. The two pictures that I've chosen to kind of demonstrate old Quebec, if you will. On the bottom left, you have Le Petit Champlain, which is the oldest shopping district in North America. And then we have La Maison Jacquette, which dates as the oldest personal surviving private residence in Quebec. It dates from 1675. And today it is home to a very famous restaurant, appropriately called Aux Anciens Canadiens, roughly translated to our old Canadians, or to our historic Canadians. And this is where they first settled. Find their way to Ile d'Orléans, as so many did before. And Ile d'Orléans is located on the St. Lawrence River, about 3 miles east of downtown Quebec City. It was the island that was the first part of the province to be colonized by the French, and a large percentage of French Canadians can trace their ancestry to the early residents of this island. And officials later changed the name to Ile d'Orléans from the names Grand'Île, Sainte-Marie, and Saint-Laurent. So if in case you're researching, make sure you remember that it wasn't always called Ile d'Orléans. I also want to point out in the middle, you'll see the map of Ile d'Orléans. Make sure you know where your people come from. Saint-Pétronille, Saint-Pierre, Saint-Famille, Saint-François, Saint-Jean, or Saint-Laurent. And they also moved around as well. So they might have gotten married at Saint-Famille, but then established themselves at Saint-Jean. So it's very important for you not to think of the island as one big blob, but instead 6 different towns. They would go on to have 5 children. We have Marie-Madeleine, who died at 5 years of age, Marie-Jeanne, who would marry Jean Bergeron and have 4 children, all of whom would make it, René Pelletier, who had 1 child and also made it, Nicolas married Marguerite Angélique Lemelin and would have 18 children, 17 of which would survive to adulthood. Just amazing. And 15 of them would carry on to have descendants. Antoine married Marguerite Lebrec and would have 2 children, both of whom survived. And Joseph married Marguerite Manceau and would have 4 children, all of whom survived. And then we have the census. So we have the 1666 census where Nicolas Godbout is listed as a pilote, which is a ship's navigator. His wife, we have Anne Magdalene, which would be Marie-Madeleine. And then we have Marie-Jeanne. And we have that they've got in their home an engagé domestique, somebody who is helping out. And then we have the 1667 census, Nicolas Godbout. And you can notice how they misspell or spell how they pronounced it. Marie-Marthe and their 2 children are there as well. Now what's interesting and a kind of a tip is I had trouble finding the 1666 census because I was looking in Quebec City. I thought that's where they were. I thought they had moved to Ile d'Orléans later. So no, come to find out, 1666 census, they are listed at the island of Orleans. And in 1667, they're listed at Quebec City. Completely the reverse of what I perceived. Possibly because he was a ship's captain or ship's navigator. They were possibly moving around. Not sure. But I rarely have seen that, so I thought I'd point it out. Nicolas would pass away on September 5th, 1674 at the very early age of 39. He died at hospital at the Hôtel Dieu, Quebec. And we don't know any of the circumstances. We just know that Marie-Marthe was now left a widow with children to take care of by herself. Marie-Marthe's second husband was Antoine Marceau, who was born in 1647 in Montbard, France. His parents were Jean Marceau and Marguerite Bonneau. Now, the church that he would have been baptized in is l'Église Sainte-Urse de Montbard, that is pictured on the upper, or not the upper, the lower right, and it's from the 11th century. Can you imagine? Montbard is truly a town steeped in history. It's found in the Bourgouin, France Franche-Comté region of France, as you can see in the upper right. And on the bottom left, you can see the Côte d'Or, which is the golden side, if you will, of this particular region. And this is the département. This is a picture of what it looks like today, and you can see kind of the castle peeking out here on the upper left of your screen. Mobile has been occupied since the Gauls, really, and it was at one time a sanctuary for a community of Druids. And as the Middle Ages dawned, Mobile transformed itself into an important village, and it centered around that castle, built around 10th century. And at one time, it even, during this century of 12th and 13th centuries, Mobile even housed a leper colony. So it was truly a place where a lot of history and medieval kind of things occurred. So if this is your ancestry, please have a look at Mobile, because it's fascinating. I could have spent I did spend a few more hours than I needed to. In fact, I'm exploring the Filles du Roi, not Mobile, right? So be careful when you're exploring these areas. They are truly amazing. So that was her second husband. Marthe and Antoine would marry on Saint-Famille, at Saint-Famille, Ile d'Orléans, on July 11th, 1675. They would not have any children. Sadly, Marthe's life would come to an end on December 19th, 1682. She was only 46 years of age, and she and Antoine had been married a mere 7 years. She would leave 136 descendants, however. So her life, however brief, was truly something that had a huge impact in terms of her descendancy, because I can only imagine how many descendants there are now. Now, Antoine would go on to live, and he would have to take care of the children because they were minor children. So, the fact that Antoine Merceau came into her life permitted her, in one respect, to kind of let go. Antoine would himself pass away in 1702 at the age of 55. Remember, he was about 10 or 11 years younger than Marthe. And presumably all the children would have been raised and on their own, that sort of thing. So we can thank Antoine, even though he did not leave any descendants, he was a very important part of the descendancy that was Marthe's. And I also want to draw your attention to Nicolas Godbout, who is featured in our French-Canadian Ancestors. I have posted the Facebook group where you can go and download the edition, and it will give you all kinds of tidbits about Nicolas and his life. Fascinating. You can see in the little picture how he has that navigator and he's on a ship. So absolutely, and it's a fabulous site. Our Free French Canadian Ancestors is a Facebook site dedicated to giving out information and sharing it. And as a lasting tribute, on the island of Orleans, l'Île d'Orléans, there's a beautiful monument. And on that monument, we have Nicolas Godbout with Marguerite Bourgouin. She is listed there. They would have established in the book that this is taken from when it says 1666. This is when the first land would have been appropriated. And it was remarkable. These are pictures I took on a recent voyage to Quebec. And it was just remarkable to stand in front of those names and make sure I took each and every image, if you will, so that I could later find them. They're a remarkable group of pioneers, and anyone who is a descendant from them should be very, very proud. They are truly a remarkable group. So to stand before that and see Nicolas and Marguerite honored in such a way is truly a wonderful thing. Here are some of my top resources. I'm going to just, go through them. Quebec Genealogical E-Society, La Généalogie du Québec et d'Amérique Française, the Quebec Family History Society, the French Canadian Heritage Society of Michigan, fabulous site. We have American French Genealogical Society, and we have the American Canadian Genealogical Society. I've listed all of the links for you to be able to check that out. WikiTree, of course. Maple Stars and Stripes, it's a podcast. Oh, and it's a website as well, but I've found it through the pod, and every time I was on a recent trip and I had to find something, and I'm like, I've listened to them so many times, but they're always good. I always learn something, even when I listen to one 5 times over. And then the French Canadian genealogist, I just love this site. I think what she's doing is phenomenal. So I want to always give a shout out to her. Généalogie Québec. I want to also tell you that this is a site, for me, it's a bigger deal than Ancestry, because I really can find everything I need, almost, on Généalogie Québec. It's worth the time and the money to investigate it. And even if you only take it for a month, you'll be able to get a lot of information from that site. And so we end episode 58, Marthe Bourgouin, just a remarkable lady and one of the early pioneers of Ile d'Orléans, and someone who, kept going no matter if she had a great loss. She kept going and remarried and established herself, and for her strength and her endurance, we are so ever grateful. Thank you, Mary Marthe, for being there, for enduring, for your sacrifices. We bless your memory. I'm also very grateful for my patrons and supporters. Thank you to all of you for all of your support, your kind words, your financial support over the many, many months. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I couldn't do this without you. So until I see you on episode 59 of Les Filles Mariées, I will say au revoir.